The courtroom went still the instant she stepped inside. An 87-year-old mother clutched a faded cardigan like it was her only shield. Across the aisle her son stood rigid, arms folded, his expression cold enough to silence every whisper in the room. No one could quite grasp how a bond like family could fracture this deeply. But when Judge Judy leaned forward, her voice quiet yet cutting, what came out next made even the bailiff hold his breath. And what she revealed after that left the entire room shaken. The echo of the closing door lingered as Judge Judy lifted her gaze toward the fragile woman at the podium. Something shifted in the air, a silent understanding that this was no ordinary dispute. The elderly mother appeared small beneath the harsh courtroom lights, the soft fabric of her cardigan clenched tightly in her trembling hands. The slight shake in her fingers didn't go unnoticed. It sent a ripple of unease through the room. She was 87, yet in that moment she looked as if life had asked far too much of her. Her son stood opposite her, posture straight and firm. He didn't look in her direction. His jaw was tight, shoulders squared with a confidence that felt misplaced. His stance suggested certainty. His eyes suggested he had already decided the outcome. Between them stretched a silent gap that said more than words ever could. Years of shared life reduced to a cold strip of courtroom floor, now impossible to cross. Judge Judy studied them both with a calm that revealed nothing, though it was clear she had already noticed more than either of them expected. She turned her attention to the mother first, her voice softer than anyone anticipated. "Ma'am, tell me what happened." The woman lowered her gaze, not out of shame, but from sheer exhaustion. When she spoke, her voice was quiet but steady. "He told me I had to leave, said I was in the way." Each word seemed to travel a long distance before reaching the room. A subtle murmur moved through the audience. Even the bailiff glanced toward the son, unable to hide the reaction. The son rolled his eyes. "She left on her own," he cut in quickly, trying to seize control of the moment. "She wasn't forced out. She's just being dramatic." The mother flinched only slightly, but enough. Judge Judy caught it immediately. Her expression hardened. "Dramatic?" she repeated, her tone now sharp. "An 87-year-old woman ends up sleeping on a neighbor's couch, and you call that dramatic?" The son opened his mouth, but no words followed. For the first time, his confidence flickered. Judge Judy leaned back, tapping her fingers once against the desk. The sound landed like a warning. "Let me be clear," she said. "You're saying she left by choice?" He nodded quickly. "Yes, exactly." She tilted her head, studying him carefully. "Then explain something to me. Why did you bring financial records to support that claim?" His expression froze, as if he had just realized the trap he had walked into. Judge Judy picked up the ledger, opening it with slow, deliberate precision. "Let's start here," she said, "because something already doesn't make sense." His confidence tried to return, but not fast enough to hide the brief flash of unease on his face. The room felt it. She flipped a page, the soft rustle of paper cutting through the silence. The son straightened, trying to regain composure, but his grip tightened on the podium, knuckles turning pale. "Let me ask you this," Judge Judy continued, eyes still on the ledger. "If your mother truly left on her own, why would you need detailed financial records to defend yourself?" He let out a laugh, too loud and clearly forced. "Because she twists things. I wanted proof. You know how older people are." A collective breath escaped the audience, the kind that comes when someone crosses a line no one expected. The mother lowered her eyes again, shrinking under the weight of his words. Judge Judy finally looked up, her gaze locking onto him with precision. "What I know," she said evenly, "is that most sons don't keep expense records on their elderly mothers unless there's something they're trying to justify." His smile faltered. "It's not profit and loss," he replied quickly. "It's expenses. I paid for everything: food, utilities, medical bills. I kept track." Judge Judy turned another page. A quiet hum escaped her, the kind that signaled she had found something important. "Utilities, medical care. Impressive," she murmured. Then she tapped a section near the bottom. "So why are half of these entries empty?" He leaned in, squinting. "Because some months were irregular. Bills aren't always the same." She didn't look convinced. "Interesting," she said, "because these gaps only appear after she moved out. Why would you continue tracking expenses for someone who wasn't even living there anymore?" He swallowed hard. The movement was visible, and somehow the entire room felt it. The mother spoke again, barely above a whisper. "I wasn't there. I couldn't have caused any bills." Judge Judy nodded slightly, then turned back to him. "She wasn't there. So what exactly were you recording?" His lips parted, but no answer came. This time there was no laugh to cover the silence. The quiet that followed was heavy and unforgiving. Judge Judy leaned forward slowly, the light reflecting off her glasses, sharpening her presence. "Let's keep going," she said, "because these numbers are telling a very different story than you are." She flipped deeper into the ledger, stopping at a page marked in his own handwriting. The atmosphere in the room tightened instantly. Her finger rested on a figure circled twice in red ink. "Explain this," she said, her voice low and steady. "Why does this withdrawal appear the day before your mother was told to leave?" The file lands on Judge Judy's desk with a muted thump, yet it echoes louder than anything the son has said. The room goes quiet, every eye drawn to the red-circled entry that already feels incriminating. Judge Judy adjusts her glasses, her fingertip resting on the questionable withdrawal as if anchoring the truth in place. "This amount," she says evenly, "was taken out the day before your mother left her home. Why?" The son clears his throat too quickly, too forcefully. "It was for repairs," he replies. "The house needed work. I took care of it. She didn't want to deal with any of it." Judge Judy shifts the page slightly, revealing uneven columns, gaps where entries should be, handwriting that begins neat and dissolves into disorder. Nothing about the ledger feels reliable, and nothing in his tone sounds convincing. "Repairs," she repeats. "Then show me the receipts." He freezes. His gaze drops, searching for an answer that isn't there. "They're at home. I forgot to bring them." She doesn't blink. "How convenient." A ripple moves through the audience, the unmistakable sound of doubt spreading. The elderly mother shifts, barely noticeable, like a shadow moving. Her voice rises, soft but steady. "There were no repairs. The house was fine." Her son snaps his head toward her. "You don't remember, Mom. You forget things." Judge Judy raises her hand, cutting him off instantly. "Do not speak to her like that." Her tone is sharp, stripping away whatever control he thought he had. She leans forward, eyes narrowing. "You circled this entry, you emphasized it, you presented it as proof. Yet there's no bill, no contractor, no record of any work being done. So I'll ask you again, why withdraw this money the day before she ended up without a home?" He shifts his weight, his confidence beginning to collapse piece by piece. "I told you it was for the house." "No," Judge Judy says, closing the ledger halfway and letting it rest like an unspoken judgment. "It was for something else, and you know it." The mother watches him quietly, her expression gentle but deeply hurt, as if each passing second confirms a truth she wished wasn't real. Judge Judy opens the ledger again, flipping through the pages more quickly now. Each turn feels precise, deliberate. "These numbers don't match your story," she says. "They don't even match each other. Frankly, they don't make sense." He exhales unevenly. "I did what I could." "Your best," she replies, seems to have a strange connection to missing money. The tension thickens. Even the cameras seem to lean in closer. She stops at a particular note written in a different ink, a different style, almost as if someone else had written it. She taps it lightly. "Before we go any further," she says, her voice lowering, "explain this, because this is where your story begins to fall apart." He leans in, squinting at the words beneath her finger. But the closer he looks, the more uncertain he becomes, as if he's staring at something he never expected to be questioned. The courtroom feels colder, the bright lights exposing every flicker of unease on his face. Judge Judy doesn't move. She simply waits, letting the silence press in. "What is this?" she asks again, calm but firm. He swallows. "It's just a note, a reminder, nothing important." "Then it should be easy to explain," she says, her tone sharpening just enough. "Read it out loud." He hesitates, jaw tightening. Finally, he mutters, "Funds held, pending transition." Judge Judy lifts her gaze. Transition to what? His lips part, but no answer follows. For the first time, real panic flashes across his face. Quick, unguarded, undeniable. He shrugs, trying to recover. "I don't remember." It was months ago. I write things down to stay organized. She tilts her head slightly, already ahead of him. You don't remember withdrawing thousands of dollars. You don't remember why you labeled it pending transition. Yet you walked in here claiming you kept flawless records of your mother's expenses. A quiet murmur spreads through the room. The mother twists the fabric of her cardigan in her hands, her expression tightening as the truth unfolds in front of her. Judge Judy closes the ledger gently, her palm resting on its worn cover as if sealing a confession. Let me make this perfectly clear, she says. You withdrew money the day before your mother was forced out. You kept notes that contradict everything you've told this court. And now you can't answer the simplest question. He snaps. Why are you jumping to the worst conclusion about me? She's not helpless. She blows things out of proportion. The mother recoils again, this time more noticeably, pain spreading across her face. Judge Judy lifts one hand, silencing him instantly. I don't assume, she replies calmly. I follow what the evidence shows me. And right now, your evidence paints a very concerning picture. He shifts uncomfortably, his breathing shallow, eyes darting around the courtroom as if searching for someone to pull him out of this moment. No one moves. No one steps in. Judge Judy slides the ledger aside. The faint scrape of paper against the desk sounds louder than it should, like a shift in direction. I mentioned earlier, she continues, her voice steady, that this ledger isn't the only issue here. His eyebrows draw together. What are you talking about? Without answering directly, Judge Judy opens another folder, one he clearly didn't expect. She taps it lightly. Because what's in here changes your entire story. The moment he sees it, his jaw tightens. His posture dips ever so slightly, just enough to betray him. He didn't bring that folder. He didn't even know it existed. The room leans in as she opens it, every movement controlled, deliberate. The tension builds quietly, like something waiting to break. He shifts his stance, trying to appear composed, but the tremor in his jaw gives him away before a single page is revealed. Judge Judy lifts the stapled document, holding it where both the camera and the mother can see. Do you recognize this? His eyes narrow. I'd have to read it. You will, she replies, passing it to the bailiff, who sets it in front of him with firm finality. He turns the first page, and the color drains from his face. It's a rental agreement, a legally binding contract, and it lists his own mother as a tenant in the home she lived in for over 50 years. A gasp moves through the room. The mother's breath catches sharply, like something inside her is snapped. Judge Judy's voice cuts through the silence. We filed this behind her back. You classified her as a renter in what had been her home for decades. He stumbles over his words. It was just for tax reasons. Just paperwork. Nothing serious. Judge Judy shakes her head. Legal documents with real consequences are never nothing. You created a record that turned your mother into a tenant, and tenants can be removed far more easily than homeowners. The mother raises a trembling hand to her chest, clutching her cardigan tightly. You told me. You said it was to help me, to organize things. Her voice breaks not from anger, but from something deeper. He turns toward her quickly. Mom, you misunderstood. No, Judge Judy interrupts, her tone calm but firm. She understood exactly what you wanted her to believe. That's not confusion, that's manipulation. His shoulders drop, but his eyes keep searching, scanning for somewhere to shift the blame, somewhere to escape the pressure closing in. Judge Judy continues without pause. This agreement gave you the power to remove her whenever it suited you. So now the question is very simple. Why did you want her out? The courtroom falls completely silent. Even the faint hum of the lights seems to disappear. His confidence tries to return, but it falters, unable to fully hide the flicker of fear that crossed his face the moment that folder was opened, and the entire room feels it. That brief flicker of uncertainty, the kind that betrays a man who walked in, convinced he controlled the narrative, doesn't go unnoticed. Every gaze shifts to the mother, who stands motionless, as if bracing herself for something she has feared for months. Her lips part. She hesitates. He wanted the house for. Her voice fades, swallowed by the weight of what she's trying to say. She can't quite bring herself to finish. Judge Judy leans forward, her tone softening, carrying a quiet but firm reassurance. Ma'am, you may tell this court. The mother closes her eyes, gathering strength that seems drawn from a lifetime. When she opens them again, her voice is barely above a whisper. He wanted me gone because someone else wanted me gone. The words hang in the air, delicate but heavy. For a moment, even the courtroom feels unsure whether to breathe. The son's eyes widen, not with guilt, but with sudden panic at a truth he didn't expect her to reveal. Judge Judy leans in, her gaze sharpening. Someone else wanted her gone, she repeats slowly. Who? The mother fidgets with the sleeve of her cardigan. His girlfriend, she says quietly. The word lands hard, sending a ripple through the room. The son immediately pulls back from the podium. This is absurd. She's turning this into some kind of conspiracy. My girlfriend had nothing to do with it. But his response comes too quickly, too defensively, the sound of someone trying to patch a story that's already falling apart. Judge Judy doesn't break eye contact. So your girlfriend moved into the home. He hesitates, a pause that says more than any answer. Yes, but it was temporary. Temporary, she repeats. And how long after she moved in did your mother leave? Silence settles again. The mother looks down, forcing herself to speak. 3 days, she whispers. A murmur spreads through the courtroom. Even the bailiff raises an eyebrow, the kind of reaction that speaks without words. 3 days, Judge Judy echoes. That's not temporary. That's displacement. It wasn't like that, the son fires back. She was crowding us, complaining about everything. She didn't respect boundaries. My girlfriend felt uncomfortable. The mother shakes her head, her voice trembling. I tried. I stayed in my room. I cooked for them. I just wanted her to like me. Judge Judy turns toward her, her voice gentler now. Did your son ever tell you directly that she wanted you to leave? A long pause stretches across the room. Then the mother nods. When she speaks, her voice fractures. I heard him tell her, once she's gone, this place is finally ours. A collective breath moves through the courtroom, shock, sadness, disbelief blending together. The son's composure cracks. You misunderstood. You always misunderstand. But Judge Judy doesn't let him regain control. She misunderstood a rental agreement you hid from her. She misunderstood unexplained withdrawals. She misunderstood being forced out of her own home. Each statement lands heavier than the last. He visibly deflates under the weight of it. Judge Judy turns to her clerk. You mentioned earlier that the girlfriend submitted a written statement. I want to see it. A thin envelope is handed over, the very document he believed would support him. His jaw tightens. His eyes close briefly, a flicker of dread passing across his face. The bailiff delivers the envelope. Judge Judy removes a single sheet and scans it, her expression growing colder with each line. When she looks up, her face is set. Sir, she says, lifting the page, this statement does not support your version of events. It contradicts it. For the first time, the arrogance disappears completely from his face. What replaces it is unmistakable fear, the realization that the trap he set has closed on him instead. Judge Judy lowers the paper, slowly, almost gently. You said your girlfriend backed your claim that your mother left by choice. He nods quickly, clinging to what little control he has left. Yes, she wrote everything down. She knows what happened. Judge Judy taps the page lightly. I'm sure she does. Her tone is cool, too calm to be comforting. She raises the document slightly so the courtroom can see. According to your girlfriend, you told her your mother would be gone within the week because you wanted privacy. His mouth falls open. That's not she misunderstood what I meant. Interesting, Judge Judy replies. That makes 2 women in your life who seem to misunderstand you in exactly the same way. A heavy tension settles over the room. The mother closes her eyes briefly, steadying herself against the truth she's been carrying. Judge Judy continues, reading from the page. He said once she is gone, we can finally live without interference. She lowers the document and fixes him with an unrelenting stare. This is your girlfriend's statement. Her words, not your mother's imagination. He stumbles, his voice breaking. She took it out of context. We were talking about needing space. Mom, needs constant attention. Stop. The single word cuts straight through his excuse. Your mother needed a secure place to live, Judge Judy says firmly. You wanted convenience. Silence follows thick, suffocating, inescapable. He can't meet his mother's eyes. He can't face the judge. Instead, his gaze drops to the floor, fixed on a point as if he could disappear into it. Judge Judy turns the statement over, exposing the signature line. Your girlfriend wrote this in a hurry, she observes. I can see hesitation in the pressure of her pen. She wasn't comfortable. She leans forward slightly. That's what happens when someone realizes the lie they supported now carries legal consequences. His breath falters. So what? You think she lied? No, Judge Judy replies calmly. I think she told the truth without meaning to. A wave moves through the courtroom, gasps, whispers, sharp breaths. Even the bailiff looks taken aback. The mother's eyes fill, not with anger, but with a quiet, aching betrayal settling deeper within her. I never wanted trouble, she murmurs. I just wanted peace in my own home. Judge Judy nods, slow and understanding. Then she turns. Clerk, bring me the additional documents that arrived this morning. The son's head snaps up. Additional? What documents? A sealed envelope is placed before the judge. She opens it carefully, scanning the contents. Her expression shifts, subtle but enough to send a chill through the room. She looks directly at him. These papers reveal what you intended to do next, and it's far worse than removing your mother from the house. The envelope rests in her hand like something dangerous, heavy with truth. As she begins to unfold the pages, the color drains from his face, as though he already knows what's coming. The courtroom falls completely still. Judge Judy lifts the first page, reading silently. No dramatic reaction, just a slow, measured exhale that signals something undeniable. Sir, she says, not yet looking up, did you begin the process of listing your mother's home for sale? His response is immediate. No, absolutely not. I don't know what you're reading, but... She raises her hand. Silence returns instantly. This, she says, holding up the document, is a preliminary property listing prepared by a real estate agent. You initiated it 2 weeks before your mother was told to leave. Shock ripples through the room. The mother grips the podium, her breath catching as if the ground beneath her has shifted. No, I didn't sign anything, the son insists, his voice unraveling. There must be some mistake, but Judge Judy is already turning the page. The agent included notes, she continues. According to them, you stated you would have full possession of the property soon. The mother closes her eyes, her shoulders folding inward. It's the posture of someone realizing the betrayal began long before she was forced out. Mom, he starts, but the word collapses before it can carry meaning. Judge Judy continues, her tone growing colder. You were planning to sell the home your mother lived in for 50 years, the home she built a life in with your father. Another page turns. You even told the agent you expected the house to be vacant by the end of the month. The mother opens her eyes again, tears catching the light above her. This house, it was everything we had, she whispers. Where was I supposed to go? Her voice is small, but the heartbreak in it fills the room. Judge Judy sets the documents down with precise control. You weren't just removing her from her home, she says. You were erasing it, erasing her history, erasing her place in it. His breathing turns uneven, almost frantic. You don't understand. I had to. Things were complicated. No, Judge Judy replies evenly. They were calculated. He stares at her, panic creeping into every feature. She reaches for the final page, the one that changes everything. This signature, she says quietly, is not your mother's. A collective gasp fills the courtroom. The mother's hand flies to her mouth. The son stumbles back a step. Judge Judy lifts her eyes, sharp and unyielding. And forging a homeowner's signature to transfer property, she states, is not just betrayal, it's a crime. The word lands with finality. The son stands frozen, his chest rising and falling in uneven breaths as the weight of everything closes in around him. His gaze shifts nervously between the falsified signature, his mother's shaking hands, and the judge's steady, unwavering eyes. With each look, the confidence he entered with fades a little more. She raises the paper again, the forged name glinting under the light. Property fraud, she states evenly, is not something that happens by mistake. Before this goes any further, she gives him a chance to explain. He tries to speak, but his words come out uneven and weak, stripped of the arrogance he once carried so boldly. I needed options, he mutters. The house was too much. I thought I could manage it better. You thought, she cuts in sharply, that taking your mother's home was easier than taking care of her. He recoils slightly as if struck. His mother watches him with eyes filled with both love and heartbreak, a painful mix that cuts deeper than anger ever could. Why did you do this? She asks softly. Why wasn't my home safe from you? He swallows hard, the motion visible even from a distance. You don't understand, he murmurs. It's complicated. No, the judge replies firmly. It's not complicated. You forged your mother's signature. You arranged a sale without her knowledge. You forced her out. And then you lied about all of it. He tries again, his voice cracking under the pressure. I was stressed. I needed space. I needed my life back. A ripple moves through the courtroom, shock, disgust, even pity blending together like a storm of judgment. She watches him in silence for a long moment, the air growing heavy with consequence. Pressure does not excuse abuse, she finally says. Stress does not justify fraud. His breathing becomes uneven. His hands tremble as he grips the podium, as though trying to steady everything collapsing around him. She leans forward slightly. What I need to know now is simple. Did you ever intend to let your mother return home? He closes his eyes, jaw tightening. When he opens them again, something inside him is clearly broken. I don't know, he admits quietly. I thought maybe after the sale I could get her something smaller, or send her somewhere. The soft gasp escapes his mother, not loud, but sharp enough to cut through the silence. Somewhere, the judge repeats, her tone dropping into a quiet intensity. She is your mother, not something to be relocated. He stares down at his hands. They seem different now, smaller, weaker, as if he's finally seeing the damage reflected back at him. She exhales slowly. Before I continue, there's something your mother shared with my clerk before this hearing began. He looks up quickly, fear spreading across his face. And what she said, the judge continues, folding her hands, may be the only honest thing left in this room. Tell me, should remorse erase guilt, or does justice require accountability no matter what? His eyes widen instantly, not with curiosity, but fear, the kind that comes when control begins to slip away. The judge's expression softens slightly as her attention shifts from him to the woman who has quietly carried the weight of betrayal. Ma'am, she says gently, you mentioned something earlier. I'd like you to share it in your own words if you're ready. The mother hesitates, her fingers gripping the edge of her cardigan as if grounding herself. The room stays silent, waiting. She lifts her gaze. Though her eyes shine with tears, her voice remains steady. I asked if I could withdraw the case. A wave of surprise moves through the room. Even the son looks stunned, caught off guard by a kindness he didn't deserve. And why? The judge asks softly. The mother takes a shaky breath. Because he's my son, she whispers. And I thought, if he apologized, maybe we could fix things. Her voice breaks not from weakness, but from love worn down by reality. I don't want to spend whatever time I have left fighting him. The son's mouth opens slightly, but no words come. The confidence he once clung to disappears, replaced by a quiet emptiness. He seems smaller now, not because he's been diminished, but because his mother has revealed the fragile loyalty she still holds for him. The judge looks at him carefully. Do you have anything to say to your mother right now? His lips tremble, but the apology she hoped for never arrives. Mom, he says instead, you don't understand everything that was happening. A faint, pained smile crosses her face, the kind only a mother can give when she realizes her child may never truly see her. I understand enough, she replies softly. I know I made mistakes too. She leans forward slightly, brows lifting. What exactly do you think you did wrong? The mother folds her hands together, the movement slow, almost painful. I gave him too much, she says quietly. Too much trust, too much freedom, too much guilt, and too much money. The son tenses instantly. The entire courtroom seems to tighten with him. Money? The judge asks, her tone sharpening. The mother nods. I gave him something every month. I thought I was helping. I thought that's what a mother is supposed to do. The judge turns toward him, her expression firm. Is that correct? Did your mother support you financially? He doesn't answer right away, but his silence speaks louder than words. The truth settles over the room like a heavy curtain, quiet, suffocating, impossible to ignore. The judge breaks through it. Ma'am, is there anything else you want to say? The mother looks down at her trembling hands. Yes, she whispers, but I don't know if he even remembers. She lifts her gaze and there's a weight in her eyes she's carried alone for far too long. This didn't start when he asked me to leave, she says softly. It began much earlier. Her words linger in the air like the first rumble before something much bigger. Her son stiffens, his body bracing as if he knows what's coming. The judge leans in, her voice quieter now, focused. Take your time. Tell me what happened before that. The mother exhales slowly, the breath fragile, filled with years of silence. She steadies herself against the podium. It started after my health scare, she says, when I collapsed in the kitchen. A respectful silence fills the courtroom. I was in the hospital for 3 days, she continues. They told him I would need help managing my bills while I recovered. He said he'd take care of everything. He told me not to worry. The judge nods. That would make sense if it had ended there. The mother closes her eyes briefly, gathering strength. But it didn't, she says. I trusted him. I signed a paper giving him temporary control over my finances. Just until I got better. Her voice wavers, then steadies again with painful clarity. But when I recovered, he never gave it back. A wave of shock moves through the room. Even the bailiff shifts, arms tightening across his chest. The son swallows hard, his face flushing. It was just easier that way, he blurts out. She gets confused. I kept things organized. The judge's gaze cuts straight through him. Organized. You continued acting on her behalf without her permission. That's not organization, that's exploitation. He tries to respond, but she raises her hand, stopping him before he can speak. The mother continues, her eyes filling with tears. He told me I was forgetting things, that I was becoming a burden, that managing bills was too complicated for me. She wipes her cheek with her sleeve, and I believed him because he's my son. The room grows painfully still. The judge's tone softens slightly. Did you ever ask for that control to be returned to you? The mother nods. I did, but he said it was for my own good. She hesitates, then adds, and when his girlfriend moved in, he told me I was in the way, that my things were cluttering their home. The son flinches, a sharp, involuntary reaction. The story he built is unraveling piece by piece. The judge turns back to him, her eyes locked on his. Did you continue using your mother's accounts after she no longer needed help? He looks down. Did you withdraw money without her approval? His lips press together. Did you make financial decisions in her name without telling her? His silence becomes the answer everyone can hear. The mother watches him, her expression filled with a sadness deeper than anger, a parent realizing her love had been used against her. He forgot something, she says softly. The judge turns to her. What did he forget? The mother lifts her eyes, steady despite the tears. That I got better. She pauses, letting the truth settle, and that the control he took was never his to keep. The words don't explode. They sink in, heavy and undeniable. The room falls into a stunned silence, the weight of everything finally landing on everyone present, including him. Judge Judy lifts the financial control documents from the desk with the careful precision of someone holding something fragile and deeply damaged. Her eyes move across the pages, then settle on the man who once stood confident and unshaken. Now he appears folded in on himself, as if the weight of the truth is pressing him inward. Sir, she says quietly, these documents show you continued acting as your mother's fiduciary long after she was capable of managing her own finances again. Do you understand what that means? He nods faintly, barely able to hold himself steady. His throat tightens as he swallows. I didn't think it was serious. I was just trying to help. A single word slips from the mother, soft and broken. Help. Every head turns toward her. She isn't crying, but the emotion in her voice carries a deeper pain than tears could show. You told me I couldn't manage my own money, she says quietly. You told me I would forget things, that I would mess everything up. Her hands press against her chest as if trying to hold herself together. And I believed you. The son's eyes glisten not with remorse, but with the rising fear of consequences finally catching up. Judge Judy's tone sharpens slightly. Ma'am, did you feel pressured to allow him continued access to your accounts? The mother nods slowly. I thought if I didn't, he would leave. He's the only family I have left. The son looks away, shame creeping in, but still unable to fully face what he has done. Judge Judy leans back, her voice steady and grounded. That is the tragedy here. A parent should never have to fear losing their child just to keep them close. A heavy silence settles again, broken only by the faint movement of someone trying to breathe steadily in the gallery. Then the son speaks, his voice low and unsteady. I didn't mean to hurt her. I didn't know what to do. Everything felt overwhelming, the house, the bills, her health. I thought taking control would make things easier. Judge Judy raises a hand slightly. For whom? He closes his eyes. For me. It's quiet, but it's real. The first honest admission without pressure. The mother watches him, heartbreak written across every line of her face. You could have told me, she says softly. You could have asked me, I would have helped you. I always would have. He shakes his head faintly, lost between guilt and regret. Judge Judy leans forward again, steady and firm. Sir, feeling overwhelmed does not justify what you did, and the burden your mother carried in silence. That is something you are responsible for. His shoulders drop further. Defeated. The courtroom waits. The mother closes her eyes, not in surrender, but in release, as if finally allowing herself to feel what she's been holding back for too long. Judge Judy taps the documents once, decisively. Before I issue my ruling, she says, you will answer one final question, and I expect the truth, no excuses. The room tightens into silence. Every sound seems to disappear. Judge Judy folds her hands on the bench, her gaze locking onto him with complete focus. Sir, she begins, I am going to ask you one final question. This is your opportunity to answer honestly, without justification, without deflection. He doesn't speak. He doesn't look away. His hands grip the podium, knuckles pale. Her voice lowers, calm but unyielding. Did you ever intend to allow your mother to return home after you removed her from it? His breath catches. A tremor runs through him, not just fear but realization, like he is finally seeing himself clearly. He opens his mouth, closes it, then finally speaks. I just wanted things to be easier, he whispers. Everything felt like too much, her needs, the house, all of it. It was all on me. Judge Judy's expression tightens slightly. And you believe the answer was to remove her completely from the situation? He winces. I didn't see another option. My girlfriend wanted space. She said the house didn't feel like ours anymore. I thought if my mum stayed away for a while, things would settle. Maybe we could fix everything. Fix everything, Judge Judy repeats. By preparing to sell her home without her knowledge? His voice drops. I wasn't going to do it right away. I kept telling myself I'd figure out what was right, but... The sentence breaks before it can finish. Judge Judy presses gently, and that is what finally breaks him. His shoulders fall completely. I didn't want her to come back, he admits, barely audible. It was easier without her there. I didn't want the responsibility anymore. The mother's hand lifts slowly to her chest, her fingers unsteady. Her breath catches not sharply, but in a quiet, breaking way, like something inside her finally giving way. Judge Judy's expression softens for a brief moment, a flicker of empathy passing through before her usual firmness returns. So you chose yourself, she says, her voice steady, at the expense of the woman who raised you. He nods faintly. His eyes are wet, but no tears fall. I'm not proud of it. That, Judge Judy replies, is the first truthful thing you've said. A heavy silence settles over the courtroom. It isn't just quiet. It feels reverent, like even the air is holding still. Cameras stop shifting. Every person seems frozen in the weight of what's been revealed. A man stripped of excuses, and a mother who has endured more than she ever should have. Judge Judy leans back slightly, then raises her hand with calm authority. I'm going to show you what justice looks like when trust is broken, when love is taken for granted, and when responsibility is ignored. Her voice lowers, not in anger, but in certainty. But before I make my decision, you need to hear what your actions actually did to her. The overhead lights feel harsher now, exposing every line on the mother's face lines, shaped by years of care, endurance, and quiet betrayal. The son tries to look away, but the silence forces him to face her. Judge Judy's tone softens as she turns to the mother. Ma'am, I need you to tell your son what his choices cost you. The mother hesitates, caught off guard by the request. Her hands shake not from weakness, but from the weight of finally speaking the truth out loud. I lost my home, she begins softly. But that wasn't the worst part. The son looks up, his eyes red, torn between shame and fear. I lost my safety, she continues. I slept on a neighbor's couch. I borrowed things I never thought I would need. I wore the same clothes because I was afraid to go back and face what had happened. Her voice wavers, but she pushes through it. I thought you were angry with me. I thought I had done something wrong. I kept telling myself you were just stressed, that I was the problem. Her fingers brushed the worn fabric of her cardigan, something familiar she clung to when everything else felt lost. I didn't tell anyone the truth, she adds. I didn't want people to think badly of you. I said I was visiting family. I made excuses to protect you. The courtroom is completely still. Even the smallest sounds feel amplified. Judge Judy's voice breaks through gently. And did he protect you in return? The mother closes her eyes for a moment. When she speaks, her voice is barely above a whisper. No, he forgot I was his mother. He forgot I was his mother. He forgot I was still here, still alive, still someone who needed care. The son presses a hand to his mouth, shoulders shaking. He cannot speak. Judge Judy turns to him, firm but not cruel. You may think your actions came from pressure or stress, but listen to what they made her feel: unseen, unwanted, disposable. Each word lands with quiet force. The mother looks at him, her voice soft but steady. I would have forgiven everything if you had just seen me. The son exhales shakily, the sound heavy with regret. Too late to undo what's already been done. Judge Judy lifts her gaze across the room, the tension rising again. Now, she says calmly, it is time for the ruling. Her expression remains composed, but her words carry weight. Before I deliver it, understand this clearly. This is not about punishment. This is about responsibility. The son nods weakly. He looks drained, as if everything he brought into the room has been stripped away. Judge Judy turns to the mother. You showed grace that was not returned. You protected someone who failed to protect you, and even after all of this, you still hoped for reconciliation. The mother lowers her head. Tears gather but do not fall. She looks exhausted, but steady. Judge Judy exhales and begins. First, every dollar taken from your mother's accounts without permission must be repaid in full. The son closes his eyes, absorbing the weight of it. Second, all financial control, formal or informal, is terminated immediately. She will regain full authority over her own affairs. The mother's shoulders ease slightly, as if a long-held burden is finally loosening. Third, you will provide funds to secure stable housing for her while her previous home situation is resolved. She will not be left without safety. A soft reaction moves through the courtroom, not shock, but recognition of fairness. Fourth, Judge Judy continues, her tone sharpening slightly, this matter will be referred for investigation regarding financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. The son lowers his head completely, not resisting anymore. The room feels the shift denial collapsing, accountability beginning. And finally, she says, turning fully to him, You will look at your mother and answer one question honestly. Do you truly understand the harm you caused her? His voice breaks as he speaks. Yes, I understand. And I'm sorry. It is not perfect. It is not enough. But it is real. The mother gives a slow nod, not forgiveness, not yet, but acknowledgement that he has finally faced the truth. Judge Judy lowers the gavel. This court believes in justice, she says quietly. But justice without compassion becomes something else entirely. Today, compassion belongs to her. Accountability belongs to you. The gavel falls, not violently, not dramatically, just final. The mother exhales. The sun sinks slightly. The courtroom breathes again, and in the silence that follows, one truth remains heavy, undeniable, and lasting.